Okay, here we go. Blap. Dave Acton, George Webb, Sweigert. They're probably both named Sweigert. 40,000 sealed Charleston Dirty Bomb Hoax indictments. Yes, it's the Charleston Dirty Bomb Hoax guy who ripped off a TV show, and that was also ripped off as Trump made sure they dropped the bombs off the ocean because Obama tried to blow up Charleston Harbor for some reason. Nobody looks up shit. In jurisdictions that use the concept of felonies, the most serious criminal offense is a felony. Jurisdictions that don't use felonies as a concept often use that of an indictable offense, so it's an indictment for an indictable offense. An offense that requires an indictment, which is a criminal accusation only, and it's formatted as a short and plain statement of where, when, and how the defendant is accused to have committed an offense. That's all it is. That's all an indictment is. It's just a formal declaration that you're being accused. Each offense is usually set out in a separate count. These can be a single page of paper or more. You can have multiple counts on one page, maybe, but usually no. And this is usually a statement that they've committed a crime is usually done through a preliminary hearing at which a judge determines whether or not there was probable cause, so they may be tried by a jury and validated by filing directly with the court or having a grand jury. Grand juries are not actually required. There is nothing special about it. Right? What's a sealed indictment? It says it's not public. That seems odd, wrong, and well, what it's used for is if there's a risk of flight by the person who's being accused, and it also shields them from being associated with a crime when the pre-trial judge ultimately may say that they're not supposed to be indicted. This prevents people from being publicly accused of crap without any evidence. Or if there is evidence, allows them to come forward and say, something really obvious like I wasn't there at the time, or that actually didn't happen, and if it can be done really quickly, it's field expediency trial, it's done to allow the person to say, hey, this is bullcrap, so that it doesn't end up damaging their reputation. So you might have a sealed indictment. This is done when it seems obvious that the accusation is actually politically motivated and is bullshit too. It can be used for something really, really serious that you think the person's guilty of, and absolutely is used when you're really sure they're not guilty of a damn thing, but you technically have to file the indictment. So it literally means you're either dead bang guilty or probably not guilty in any way, but they're going through the motions. Someone can even request, yes, this has been done, to have an indictment levied against them and sealed for the process of doing that preemptively to make sure that this can't come up, because it's already considered asked and answered or double jeopardy in a courtroom. Indictments don't really go under double jeopardy, but you can request to say, this was already brought up in a court. It's just a sealed document. It's the only time it can be sealed after the fact. It's still considered public record, but it's not notoriously and publicly posted as many criminal activities are supposed to be as far as accusations. Next, it also prevents in case of lack of evidence. The accusation may sound good, but there may not be any evidence. This also protects the identities of witnesses, or to buy time so police can investigate the people complicit in crimes or find more witnesses. But it prevents interference with an investigation as a tactic. This is the one reason this gets brought up as a meme. Why do they do it? So that they can prevent the investigation from being interfered with by making the next step of doing an investigation a much more hardcore version. And it also does force them to do another thing. If you can't convince a judge that you at least have some smidgen of reason to do this, you're told you can't have this indictment. You can't go any further, and in some cases the court will refuse to let you continue unless you show a good reason, a compelling reason to do this. So again, a clerk will seal the indictment, and no person may disclose the indictment's existence or discuss what's in it, except as necessary to issue or execute warrants or summons or complete these tasks. because it may be complete bupkis and they know it, but they still have to go through the motions, or it may be an absolutely perfect case the person may run from. Unless you know what it contains, it doesn't have any meaning. Next, it only becomes unsealed just before the defendant goes to trial, so if you've ever heard of a sealed document on the internet, it was bupkis, unless they were actually grabbed and dragged into court already. It's a fake accusation done with the meme of him being dead bang guilty, when in most cases, and ironically, it means there was never a reason for it in the first place. And this, some reason, gets associated with Dave Acton, George Webb, and lots of other people who claim to be patriots and are interested in your constitutional right to no unreasonable search and seizure or anything like that, but for everybody else, not for them. Obviously, they, only for them, not for everybody else. Everybody else, you can just throw them in prison, because the accusation is the same thing as guilt, SJW mode. And it's associated a lot with lots of people, but the favorite ones are the two idiots who are involved in dozens and dozens of stupid memes where they just accuse people without any corroboration or reason, so they'd never get an indictment. And also one person who was involved in creating a dirty bomb hoax because he forgot that he watched it on television years before, and it didn't really happen because it was a TV show. Special report with WAPTech. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck.